Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm very pleased to be your guest speaker today. A big thank you to Betsy Lightbourne for scheduling me to talk about one of my favorite yearly events, the Secular Day of the Dead, which is also known as Dia de los Muertos Secular. Now, I was asked to answer the question, why host a secular Day of the Dead? And I'll be doing that during my talk. Now, this question was first posed in 2013 when Victoria de la Torre and I announced the very first Dia de los Muertos Secular event. When the idea came to us, we were very aware that more and more people were abandoning their religious upbringing. So even so, there are many who still want to celebrate certain cherished cultural traditions and rituals. A Pew Research survey found that Hispanics with no religious affiliation went from 15% in 2009 to 23% in 2019. Now, I've asked the host, Drew, to place the 2019 survey link into the chat so you can see actual figures. Now, today, 39% of the United States born Hispanics have no religious affiliation at all. And proof of this can be found at another Pew Research link, which will also be in the chat. We like evidence, so that's why I'm asking for these links to be given to you. Dia de los Muertos Secular is exactly like the traditional Mexican tradition, sans religion. It is a wonderful, joyous festivity full of life, color, flowers, and candles. And I've already started to decorate for the online celebration, which, as you can see, is all taking place in the background of my Zoom box. And I'll show you a few of my special candles that I've created. And these candles are placed on my honoring table. This one is for my mother, and I created this last year. And you can see that I've written an homage to her in the back and her pictures in the front. And this candle I created for my dear friend, Tom Flynn. He was the editor of the Free Inquiry magazine. You can see that I put some magazines there and a little description of his life. And I worked very closely with him as a board member of the Robert Greene Ingersoll Birthplace Museum. That's located in Dresden, New York, in case you'd like to go up and visit. The upcoming November 2nd Dia de los Muertos Secular was created as a redesign of Hispanic traditions and rituals that celebrate our one and only life, our legacies, and a cultural heritage. To non-theists, our legacies are our afterlife. And it's notable that ritualized behavior seems universal, and it has been suggested it's rooted in our evolutionary biology. Archaeological evidence has been found in pagan graves, and one only need to look at the 3,000-year-old Egyptian culture to see the importance of rituals and the hope that there is actually an afterlife. Rituals give people a sense of control and confidence in a world that is impersonal and very confusing. Anthropologists and psychologists agree that rituals promote cooperation and a sense of belonging. The success of human evolution and societal advancements can be attributed to the meeting of these needs. The Hispanic holiday, known in English as the Day of the Dead, features rituals commemorating the deceased members of a community. And this festival of life has parallels throughout the world. Similar cultural recognitions of life and of the death of loved ones takes place in Asian countries, Sicily, West Africa, Oceania, and Italy. The Freethought Society concentrates only on the Mexican tradition for several reasons. We have 3 Hispanic committee members on our board, and they bring insight into the various ceremonial rituals, and each of them speak fluent Spanish. And a quick story about myself and why I have a vested interest in hosting this event. My first husband was Mexican. The Ortega family I married into recognized Dia de los Muertos, and I became very familiar with the event. And that was through my direct connection to the Ortega family. And I thought it was a beautiful tradition, even though it was observed by the Ortega family as an overtly religious event. And I opted not to participate in any of the prayers, and I did not go to church with them. That was back in the late 1960s. But even then, I realized how lovely it would be to recognize dead loved ones without all the superstitious nonsense that I was observing. Now, it was obvious to me that religion was based in the fact that life is confusing and death is scary. Humans, I concluded, simply want to believe that someone or something is in charge and that some type of life continues after we die. Wanting life after death doesn't make it so. Getting back to my first marriage, I have a daughter from that marriage and a grandson from my Ortega daughter. When I realized that there was a way to secularize Dia de los Muertos for the non-theist Hispanic community, I began earnestly to redesign the associated rituals. You see, I wanted my daughter and my grandson to remember their heritage and to see me as considerate, but not hypocritical. For instance, instead of an altar, we have an honoring table, which is what you see in the background. And we also welcome everyone to the event, whatever race or philosophical leanings or who they want to honor. Wording is important in a secular context, and all of the hosts of our event refrain from using religious language. And this is done to ensure that attendees know that supernatural belief is not necessary to participate. The Dia de los Muertos Secular event is for all non-theist folks who grieve for dead loved ones and desire to honor their legacies. Now, speaking about the legacies of dead loved ones, we can bring them back to life. So we consider the Dia de los Muertos Secular an event about celebrating life, not death. We've designed the Dia de los Muertos Secular Festival to welcome non-theist Hispanics who hope to maintain family celebrations that are not forcing them to be hypocritical. Now, over the years, the event has been sponsored by the Hispanic American Freethinkers, American Atheists, Center for Inquiry, Black Nonbelievers, Freedom from Religion Foundation, and the American Ethical Union, and of course, the Freethought Society. The Dia de los Muertos Secular Planning Committee includes me, Victoria de la Torre, David Tamayo, and Memo Benumea. Now, Memo lives in Mexico, and we credit him for booking wonderful entertainment for the online festival. But most of all, we thank him for addressing the question, is our committee guilty of cultural appropriations? So let's watch a video that Memo made last year to address the appropriations question.
Hi, welcome to the Secular Day of the Dead 2022, El Día de los Muertos. I'm Memo Benumea, and I'm one of the board members for this event. Again, bienvenidos. I was invited to talk about the cultural appropriation, specifically related to the Day of the Dead. And I did a small keynote that I called Día de los Muertos, Cultural Appropriation as a Life and Death Matter. Here is the thing. The term cultural appropriation is relatively new, and although it's already well understood in the United States, in Latin America it's a very foreign concept. So very quickly, let me define cultural appropriation. ¿Qué diablos es cultural appropriation? Well, a very clear example is this image. It's a Native American young woman who is in a football stadium surrounded by fans of a team wearing headdresses as a costume. And it could be that those headdresses may be the most important honor that her tribe confers. And she sits there in silence, suffering because she's watching her culture reduced to a costume just for fun. That is what we're trying to avoid. We want to steer clear of cultural appropriation and make it cultural appreciation. That is our goal. And it might come down to three factors. One, what is the specific thing that you want to appreciate? Have you sought to understand it? Two, why? What is your intent of using it? Is it just for fun, or do you want to give it a deeper meaning? And three, did you reach out to people from that culture and make sure that they are okay with the way that you are using it? So in the Day of the Dead, let's start with the what. En el Día de los Muertos, everything has a symbolism. The marigolds, or cempasúchil, with their golden color, they guide the death. The food is what the loved one liked in life. The skulls represent them and represent us, the inevitability of death as part of life. Mictecacihuatl, Lady Micte, herself is really not a scary lady. She is the Lady of Mictlán, the land of the dead. And again, she's not a bad entity. She just rules the land of the dead with her husband, Mictlanteculi, Lord of Mictlán. Right? In the original mythology, she presides the festivities of death. And with that, that's the ultimate celebration of life. You could say that the Day of the Dead actually has been appropriated multiple times already. Aztecs themselves might have appropriated it from other cultures. Then the Catholic Church, they appropriate everything, and they change the dates to make it fit with the All Saints Day and All Souls Day from their calendar. And then contemporary Mexicans may appropriate it again, right? But let me tell you something about Mexicans. We do like to import traditions, even our own traditions. And I actually have an example of something that I like to call reverse cultural appropriation. So let me tell you about the wonderful, immemorial Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City. And old parade, an old tradition that spans many, many years. And, thanks to accurate book record keeping, we know exactly how old it is. Because this ancestral parade began in the early 21st century, in the year of 2016. The natives of the new Tenochtitlan, or Mexico City, tell the tale of a living god who came down to Mexico City just 1 year before, in 2015. You may know him as Daniel Craig, or you may also know him as James Bond. This is not a joke. Well, maybe the part of Daniel Craig being a god, but that really depends on how you define God. But the part of the parade is really true. You see, in the movie Spectre, James Bond runs across Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City. But that parade never existed before. It was just created for the movie itself. It had never happened in Mexico City. But Mexicans went to watch the movie and they thought, that is really cool. Why don't we do this? And so in 2016, we held our first Day of the Day parade in Mexico City. 250,000 people. Total success. So it was repeated again and again and again. By 2019, 2 million Mexicans gathered to celebrate the Day of the Day parade in Mexico City. It's like we say, thanks, Hollywood. This is really cool. We'll take it from here. So let me tell you about a personal example. Cinco de Mayo. One Cinco de Mayo, I went to have dinner with some friends. I was in New York City, and we went to a restaurant in Manhattan. And the owner of the restaurant was having a Cinco de Mayo party in the middle of Manhattan. There were not many Mexicans in there. So we came in and he sees me and he says, "Hey, you're the first Mexican to come to our Cinco de Mayo party." And he's like, "Well, yeah, because we Mexicans don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo. That is not a thing." And whatever he says, let me give you some guacamole. It's on the house. And okay, because I'm Mexican, I'm supposed to like guacamole? I could have taken offense, but I actually took the guacamole. It was delicious. And the thing is that the guy was trying to connect for commercial reasons, very badly. But you could see the intent to reaching out was there. Come back. So let me give you one more example. You might recognize this one here. That is, or it's actually this one. That is actually happened in the Secular Day of the Dead, 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? They gave us cardboards that we color and we wear our masks. And my girl, you can see her, she has her face painted, right? They were doing face paint. But let me be clear. Those are not Mexican traditions. We don't do that, right? I was in a Day of the Dead every year in my elementary school, and we never did cardboards and we never put them as masks and we never painted our faces. That's not what we do. But I thought, just as those Mexicans in Mexico City, I thought, hey, this is really cool. Why don't we do this? And guess what? Now, as today, I have used that same half day, half alive makeup multiple years because it's really cool and it has a beautiful symbolism. But again, this is not something that I learned in Mexico. This is something that I learned in San Diego with Victoria. And just as the day of the day parade, I'm telling you, Victoria, thank you. This is really cool. And I'll take it from here. So let's appreciate the Day of the Dead. What pieces? All of it. Please grab all of it. Why? Because we have colorful altars, right? We honor our loved ones with the altars. We have sweet alfeñiques. We have papel picado that adds color to the room. We have delicious pan de muerto. Makeup, we really don't have that, but if you like it, yeah, let's wear it. It's actually really cool. Costumes, please wear them. In Mexico City, they started wearing them in 2016. Why not us, right? And calaveritas, those are really cool, and we will talk about those a little bit in this event. But let's talk about why. Why are we doing this? Well, our intent is to connect between us, to connect with secular people, to connect between two nations or more nations, if you count all of Latin America, to connect between the living and the dead, or loved ones who have already passed away. So, to whom are you going to reach? Well, to all of us. And this is the thing. The Day of the Dead shouldn't be a Mexican holiday. It shouldn't even be a Latin American holiday. It should be a holiday for all humanity, because we are all connected through life and death. So, El Día de los Muertos is a colorful holiday that can inspire others around the world. Let's celebrar el Día de los Muertos. Thank you.
I hope you all agree that Memo laid out some wonderful counterpoints to those who have questioned our motives and intent. We know by the thanks that we get from past participants that sharing life stories during the event brings people great comfort. In the past, I've honored my Auntie Conchita, my mother, my father. I honored a couple who died together on their honeymoon just 5 days after I conducted their secular wedding ceremony. And this year, I'll be honoring my Auntie Eladia and her husband, my Uncle Jay. Last year, I also honored the life of my garage cat. And we encourage the acknowledgement of pets and that they are precious members of our family and their life has meaning. We also think this type of acknowledgement is helpful to children who may be experiencing their first exposure to death through the death of a pet. Now, the nighttime online Dia de los Muertos Secular events are always rated R. But when we host a weekend and daytime event, the speakers and entertainment is family friendly, G-rated. Philadelphia Ethical Society members are invited to attend this year's event, and you can find all the event details in several places on social media. And I've asked Drew and Betsy and the Zoom host to place a link to the register for the event into that chat. So you'll find a link there to register. So I also asked for the link to the Facebook page event. It's a particular event where I actually posted every picture of our entertainers and a short bio of who you will be seeing on November 2nd. And I'm also asking for the Freethought Society meetup page to be posted in the chat. And please feel free to go there and take another look at the description. Those who cannot be with us on November 2nd can send an honoring video. You can actually send the video to me through Google or Dropbox or WeTransfer, but unfortunately I have to receive it this coming week in order to show it during the event. The video can be done in either Spanish or English. And we will be hosting an actual Spanish room and an English room during the honoring ceremony time slot. So the video that you submit, if you're going to, must not be longer than 5 minutes. So please send any video submissions to my email address, which will also be in the chat. We have put together a wonderful program this year, and it includes many entertainers from Mexico. At the 2023 event, we will also host author Hector Garcia as the 2023 keynote speaker. Now, he is the author of Alpha God, The Psychology of Religious Violence and Oppression, and the book Sex, Power, and Partisanship. And actor John Muertos will open the program with a very special message. And John has starred in the television series This Is Us, Castle, and many others. He's a Hollywood director and producer. And John has been with us for many years, and he often brings his celebrity audience members to us. So that's fun. The 2023 Secular Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos Secular program will feature a film, sections of a film from the director Roland Avila, and we will be actually interviewing him and asking him questions about the film. I think you'll enjoy that very much because the questioner is Memo, and what a personality he has. And there will also be a unique presentation by a Mexican educator and science advocate, Martin Bonville. Composer Abraham Lopez La Fuente is sending us a surprise video, which we are sure is going to be entertaining. Daniel Sabeta will share an animatronic skit of a conversation between two skeletons as they discuss life and death from a secular point of view. Now, Salvador Leon Beltran and his spouse, singer and musician Bonnie Sovin, created a very artistic Dia de los Muertos video last year. And we look forward to seeing what they send this year, but they warned us it will be R-rated. A little bit of nudity, apparently. Now, we make the event interactive by giving participants time to honor their dead loved ones, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, but all participants are welcome to come to the event wearing Dia de los Muertos clothing, and we're also awarding prizes to the best clothing choice, face painting, face mask, hair adornment, and also for the best overall Zoom box. In Memo's appropriations video, he mentioned something called the calaveras. Calaveras were first published in Mexico in 1850s, written to poke fun at members of high society. And they began as mock epitaphs or phrases or poems written in memory of someone who has died. But in today's world, calaveras are associated with Dia de los Muertos and are written from the point of view from La Catrina. The adjective Catherine means elegant for a woman or dapper for a male, and La Catrina means the elegant lady. And she's always portrayed an elegantly dressed skeleton lady who is a symbol of both Mexico and Dia de los Muertos. The first drawing of La Catrina was created by Mexican lithographer Jose Guadalupe Posada. In the early 20th century, Her status as a beloved symbol of Mexican culture was cemented when famed artist Diego Rivera included her in his mural. And the title of his mural is Sinoa de Uno Tarde Dominical en la Alameda Central. The title translates to Dream of a Sunday Afternoon in Alameda Park. Now, modern day calavitos are often posted on social media and can be written about almost anything, including politicians, songs, and movies. But today, I will end my presentation with the showing of Memo's 2022 Calvertidas as he provides a mock epitaph for the Dia de los Muertos Secular Planning Committee, Victoria de la Torre, David Tamayo, me, and even himself. Now, in the video, the English version appears on the right side of the screen in written form. And I'll take questions after his 2-minute video. Enjoy.
La muerte llegó de sorpresa a este evento, ocasionando uno que otro desmayo, y preguntó, con su ronco acento, ¿dónde está David Tamayo? David le rogó a la flaca por su vida y la convenció de jugar ajedrez. ¿Y si yo te gano la partida, me dejas vivir otro mes? Y aunque él en la tierra fue campeón, la victoria de la muerte fue ancha. Vienes, y sin gritar, al panteón. Allá te doy la revancha. A Margaret se dirigió la fulana. No temas, sé que te gustan los disfraces. En el más allá toda la semana tenemos música y fiestas con antifaces. Así que vente, nos vamos de viaje. No necesitas llevarte feliz. Allá tenemos máscaras y maquillaje. Verás que allá serás muy feliz. La calaca también se llevó a Victoria, con su colección de libros de antigüedad. Libros de poesía, de novelas e historia, que le daban a Vicky mucha felicidad. Y Memo no sé cómo a la flaca convenció que su telescopio le dejara conservar. Así que cargó con él cuando falleció, para desde Mictlán las estrellas observar. Y así, desde el más allá agradecemos su presencia. Les deseamos una vida con fiestas y conciertos, y esperamos que esté disfrutando la audiencia nuestra celebración anual del Día de los Muertos.
So before I answer your questions, I want to thank Drew Snyder for being the Zoom technician. It was great to have your help today, Drew. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Betsy, for inviting me and both of you for putting things into the chat. And now, please state your name before you ask your question.